there's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with another deck tech. I'm going to try to do a deck tech a day for the foreseeable future, whether it be modern, standard, frontier, commander, I don't know what it is. I'm going to try to be more consistent with actually brewing decks. Now, this is an upgrade to an oldie but a goodie. I've played this quite a bit for Gathering Magic for both playing on a budget as well as the Rogue's Alley. If you're not familiar or if you haven't subscribed to Gathering Magic, I highly suggest you do so. A lot of you complain that I don't have a lot of gameplay video. Well, that's because it's all over at Gathering Magic. I do it once a week for them. And so it seems kind of redundant to fill my channel full of gameplay. I'm going to try to get back to playing more gameplay. But usually when I do gameplay for Rogue Deck Builder, it is either done on Twitch or on YouTube live stream. So I'll be playing some Frontier matchups, I think, later tonight. I think this video will probably come out about the same time I'm going to live stream. Not this particular deck, but I am going to get back into the swing of things for gameplay. But in the meantime, every week for Gathering Magic, I do a playing at a budget or Rogue's Alley where I play a deck and 4 matchups over there. So if you're interested in that, go subscribe. Anywho, the deck that I played over there was a Weapons Trainer. Weapons Trainer is the equipment I like to call Lord, because if you have an equipment, all creatures get +1/+0. And that is a very powerful card. It's a 3/2 itself, and so giving all your creatures +1/+0 in kind of a go-wide strategy can be very, very powerful. So there's a lot of different directions you can go. This particular deck that I'm going to show you right now is just going to try to slam in 3 of these copies in that deck. So Sram, Senior Edificer, is a 2/2. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, you draw a card. And I think equipment is the most easy to break right now in standard, because I was looking through auras and there aren't a lot of decent auras that have low converted mana cost, because that's what you're going to want to hit is like 1 and 2s. And I mean, there's one in black, the -2, -2, but other than that, I thought maybe like Angelic Gift gives flying, draw a card, then draw an extra card off it would be decent, but it's still kind of lackluster for 2 mana. And of course there are a bunch of vehicles, Smuggler's Copter being one of them. But if you can kind of meld equipment and Smuggler's Copter, well, this card can get a lot of value. So let's just go ahead and pull up that deck list. So here's the deck list. You might have, if you are a fan of the channel, you might be familiar with it. This is just Weapons Trainer. This will be kind of Weapons Trainer 3.0. The first time I built this was back in Battle for Zendikar, and then we revived it once the Shadows of Innistrad came out, and we revived it again in Kaladesh. So I guess this is like 4.0, because this Aether Revolt will get an upgrade. But so far I haven't seen a lot of vehicles. There is the 1-drop vehicle, Crew 6. I don't really think it wants to be in this deck because it'd be way too hard to crew, even with all these. But what it tries to get out is an artifact quick for the Toolcraft Exemplar or the Inventor's Apprentice. And the Inspector also gives you a clue token which acts as an artifact. We also have Scrapheap Scrounger. It's the only thing that the black is in here for, and just a few ways to actually cast the Scrapheap Scrounger from the graveyard if it happens to go in the graveyard. That's why we do want the Concealed Courtyards. And I've had like Servo Exhibition in this before, as well as Pia Nalar, which works very well with the Reckless Bushwhackers. But for this list, we're just going to try to use the Srams and then also just as much of equipment to draw cards as possible. So the best ones for that is going to be Bonesaw. Bonesaw is our go-to 0-drop. So in this case, 0-drop to get the Weapons Trainer online, the Stonehaven Outfitter online, the Toolcraft Exemplar. The 0-drop is also pretty cool to actually cast Reckless Bushwhacker, but Bushwhacker I don't know if it actually can fit in the deck. We might want to go, instead of the Smuggler's Copter, maybe a hybrid of the two. Like a mix of maybe 3 and 2, or maybe Inventor's Goggles just isn't needed anymore, which is the Bonesaws and Captain's Claws. However, you do want to hit an equipment for the Weapons Trainer and the Stonehaven Outfitter. Both of these cards will have your creatures get a buff if you do have an equipment either attached to them with the Stonehaven Outfitter or just in play with the Weapons Trainer. So a lot of synergy going on with this deck. Too bad the new Dwarf is an Advisor, not an Artificer. Otherwise, the Artificer Tribal would be very, very easy to pull off in this particular deck as well, because a bunch of these are Artificers. That's why I like the Inventor's Goggles, is you can play it as a 1-drop, and then as a 2-drop, your Stonehaven Outfitter, and then immediately equips to it. And then you get this +1/+2, so it's a 3/4. So it's above like the Kozilek's Return range or the Radiant Flames range, and you have a 3/4 beater, which is really good versus like the Marvel matchups. But other than that, this is a pretty aggressive deck. Again, I think that Reckless Bushwhacker might want to stay in because I won so many games off of recasting a Scrapheap Scrounger from the graveyard to end a turn, and then like dropping a 1-drop like a Inventor's Apprentice into a Reckless Bushwhacker on like turn 4 even, or turn 5, turn 6, late game. And then you have, you're swinging in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage off of that combo. So I don't know, Reckless Bushwhacker, we'll see. We'll see if the Stonehaven Outfitter actually wants to be a 4 of. So again, Smuggler's Copter gets the draw card off of, we might not even need Scrapheap Scrounger, to be honest, and this could be the Reckless Bushwhacker / Pia Nalar or Servo Exhibition, just to kind of get these other cards online. And Weapons Trainer gets pretty buff. The whole justification over Scrapheap or Servo Exhibition is Weapons Trainer is pretty much the same thing with a Scrapheap Scrounger as it is with one Servo Exhibition, because giving a 2/1/1s to be, or 2/1s, so you have 2/2/1s, is basically the same thing as having a 4/2, and this card just has a lot of upside of being able to recur. So I think that's the justification for that. Again, this deck is very, very quick. Nothing costs over 2 in the entire deck, except for the activation of like a Needle Spires. And so again, it's why we can run such a low land count. So I've had a lot of success with the deck. It's not very expensive to pick up. Yeah, I guess the dual lands are up there. Like, what are these, like $4 or $5 a piece now? The Concealed Courtyards and Inspiring Vantages. And the Smuggler's Copter is still a little bit expensive. But there are no mythics in this. There's no reason we're in Gideon. It's a little bit pricey for this deck, converted mana cost-wise, to cast. And yeah, you're going to try to win the game usually by turn 5. So incredibly quick deck. Just really comes out the gate. And it does have a little bit of like, range is what I like to call it, or reach, whichever one you want to call it, where it can come back after board wipes. We did that through Reckless Bushwhacker a lot, but still the Scrapheap Scrounger and the Captain's Claw, even on Captain's Claw, Scrapheap Scrounger is a pretty cool interaction together, because then you can bring something back in a turn, then equip it, and then you're swinging in for 4, and then have 2 creatures, or actually 5, and you have 2 creatures on board. Needle Spires is also something you can activate late game. And I think Smuggler's Copter also helps this deck out quite a bit. So, anywho, sideboard Selfless Spirit was really in here to protect against board wipes. Declaration Stone's just our go-to removal spell. Harness Lightning and Galvanic Bombardment also can help with that. So I'm a little bit greedy on the removal on the side. I don't think there's many times we'd bring in all of these. So I don't know, maybe the Declarations can come out, and that'd be another place where we could bring in like a go wide type strategy against decks that are bad against go wide. So if you're looking for a deck that could just use a little bit of upgrade, or a good way to break the Dwarven Advisor, the Sram, isn't his name Sram? I already forgot the dude's name. Yeah, Sram, Senior Edificer. I think this is a perfect shell for him that isn't just trying to slam vehicles. Of course, DePaul would be a nice other route to go with it, and then in Modern and in other past decks, of course, the SRAM's going to be very good. Again, this is going to be something that might work with Bogles. As you can see, the Core Spirit Dancer kind of does a very, very similar thing to it, and whatnot. So incredibly cool card, and I think this is going to... it's one of those cards that gets better over time, too. The more artifacts, equipments, auras, and vehicles that are printed as time goes on, the better this card gets. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this brew, and come join me. I'm going to be trying to play maybe an hour and a half on, probably more like an hour, stream on MTGO with some Frontier. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.